stand on a blackened shoreline as the North Atlantic wind howls, and you realize you have stepped onto a land still being born. Here, the earth breathes. Steam hisses from jagged cracks in the lava, while massive glaciers glow a haunting blue in the twilight. There's a raw, primal energy to this isolated island on the edge of the Arctic Circle. It is a place where fire and ice are not metaphors, but the daily reality outside your front window. Yet, despite the endless winter nights and the tectonic violence rumbling beneath the moss, there is a profound stillness here. People do not merely survive this unpredictable frontier. They have built a remarkably warm society right in the middle of it. How do you carve out an ordinary life on a restless island that could reshape itself tomorrow? To answer that, you must look at the land itself, which silently dictates every single move you make from the moment you wake up. On an island forged by raw geological power, the surrounding environment is not merely a scenic backdrop, it is an active, unpredictable neighbor. Roads curve around vast fields of ancient lava, while morning weather forecasts read less like daily schedules and more like survival guides. The climate here shifts without warning, swinging from gentle sunlight to blinding snowstorms in a matter of minutes, forcing locals to structure their routines around nature's sudden whims. Yet, this untamed realm has cultivated a culture defined by quiet resilience and surprising comfort. Instead of retreating from the freezing Arctic winds, Icelanders step right into them, gathering in steaming geothermal pools before dawn to share stories, while freezing air bites at their shoulders. This intimate relationship with an ever-changing landscape has instilled a deep cultural humility, teaching generations how to bend with the wilderness rather than fight it. Because the colossal interior remains an uninhabitable expanse of black ash and crushing glacial ice, human life has always been drawn toward the outer rim. People naturally gathered along the winding coastlines and quiet fjords, where the Gulf Stream softens the winter chill and the ocean yields its rich bounty. It is along these narrow strips of habitable shore that colorful coastal towns first took root, creating vibrant sanctuaries of light and human warmth against the vast, brooding shadow of the mountain peaks. At the heart of these coastal havens, the day begins not with frantic rush, but with a quiet, deliberate grace. Soft lights flicker on inside colorful corrugated tin houses, illuminating cozy kitchens with a comforting aroma of dark, roasted coffee fills the air. Outside, the morning sky may still with a dark velvet mantle of Arctic night, yet the town is already waking up with gentle energy. Stepping out onto the street, you immediately notice a subtle magic. The sidewalks beneath your feet are surprisingly warm, gently melting the overnight ice thanks to geothermal pipes running below the pavement. The morning commute is remarkably calm, completely lacking the chaotic noise found in major global capitals. Electric vehicles glide quietly past vibrant street art, with dramatic snow-capped peaks framing the end of almost every residential road. By mid-morning, people settle into sleek, Scandinavian-designed workspaces where the atmosphere feels warm, open, and egalitarian. Work here is driven by purpose rather than endless, grueling hours, leaving ample space for genuine human connection. When lunchtime arrives, colleagues gather over steaming bowls of rich lamb soup or fresh rye bread baked using underground volcanic heat, exchanging easy laughter and local stories. As the brief afternoon light fades into a long, golden twilight, the town shifts into a softer gear. Evening does not mean retreating indoors behind locked doors. Instead, it draws people out into the heart of the community. Locals walk to their neighborhood hot pools, sinking into mineral-rich waters to melt away the day's chill while catching up with friends under the crisp open air. By nightfall, a peaceful silence settles over the colorful streets like a thick wool blanket. Inside snug, geothermally heated homes, families share home-cooked meals as the icy Arctic wind whispers against heavy double-pane glass. Looking out the window, you might catch the glowing green ribbons of the northern lights dancing silently overhead, turning an ordinary weekday into something truly magical. That quiet magic is deeply rooted in the way people interact with one another, bound by an invisible thread of absolute trust born from centuries of surviving together on this rugged rock. Walk into any cozy village cafe, and you will notice something extraordinary. Outside in the crisp morning air, babies nap peacefully in their strollers, left alone by parents chatting warmly inside, without a single flicker of worry. Greetings on the street are refreshingly casual, genuine, and completely free of pretension. There are no rigid social hierarchies or artificial titles in this society. Everyone, from a local fishmonger to the country's prime minister, is addressed simply by their first name. This profound sense of quality shapes the quiet rhythm of everyday family life. On dark, stormy afternoons, multi-generational families gather around warm wooden tables, not just to share coffee and hot pastries, but keep the living memory of their ancestors alive. Ancient sagas written 800 years ago by Viking settlers are read aloud by candlelight. And because the Icelandic language has been fiercely guarded against outside influence, a young schoolchild can read medieval texts almost as effortlessly as a modern storybook. Yet, what truly defines a local mindset is an unshakable philosophy forged by the restless earth itself. At its reddest, the unspoken belief that somehow everything will eventually work out. When sudden volcanic eruptions darken the sky, or brutal winter blizzards seal off entire coastal towns, panic never takes root. Instead, neighbors quietly step outside, start up their tractors, and clear snow together before anyone even thinks to ask for help. Nature has taught generations here that individual control is merely an illusion, but community is an unbreakable shield. Living in harmony means understanding that true strength isn't about standing alone against the bitter forces of nature, but knowing that an entire island stands shoulder to shoulder beside you. That shared sense of mutual support carries directly into how people earn their living, transforming work from a grueling race into a balance of purpose and personal well-being. On an island powered almost entirely by natural earth energy, the economy is as modern as it is remarkably adaptive. While ocean fishing wants to find every family's survival, today's workforce thrives across sustainable tech startups, green geothermal engineering, creative design, and vibrant boutique tourism. A typical workday reflects this thoughtful, human-centered rhythm. Offices fill up around 8 or 9 in the morning with quiet focus, but by late afternoon, desks clear out smoothly. The culture fiercely protects family life over endless overtime, supported by pioneering national shifts towards shorter work weeks. Yet, earning a living here comes with a distinct local reality. The cost of daily life can seem astonishing at first glance. A quick trip to the grocery store for fresh produce or a casual dinner with friends carries price tags that often shock visitors from major continental cities. High taxes and geographic isolation mean almost everything imported from abroad commands a hefty premium. But inside Iceland, those eye-watering prices tell only half the story. High average wages, robust social protections, and practically non-existent home heating bills, thanks to scalding geothermal water pumped straight from the earth, create a uniquely resilient economic cushion. People rarely measure their financial comfort by flashy luxury cars or extravagant displays of material wealth. Instead, true comfort is measured in pure peace of mind, knowing that healthcare, high-quality education, and reliable social safety nets are fully guaranteed allows families to comfortably spend their disposable income on rich personal experiences, outdoor gear, and sun-soaked travel during the long, dark winter months. Here, money is not spent on showing off status others, but on purchasing time, security, and the quiet freedom to truly enjoy the wild, extraordinary world right outside your window. Stepping into that extraordinary world almost always begins with a simple, steaming cup of coffee. In a fiercely caffeinated nation bathed in darkness for much of the winter, local cafes act as illuminated sanctuaries. Friends do not rush their morning espresso before running off. They linger for hours in cozy, dimly lit corners, wrapped tightly in hand-knitted wool sweaters, swapping animated stories while the relentless Arctic wind batters the window panes. When the work week finally dissolves into the weekend, the rhythm of life shifts outward. Instead of retreating from the unpredictable elements, locals eagerly embrace the rugged terrain just beyond the city limits. Families strap on heavy boots to hike across craggy, neon-green moss fields or ride sturdy, 5-gated Icelandic horses through sweeping, wind-carved valleys. Yet, the absolute focal point of neighborhood leisure is the local swimming pool. It is here, submerged in naturally heated geothermal water, that the entire community organically gathers. Politicians, artists, and mechanics sit shoulder to shoulder in bubbling hot pots, debating current events and sharing local gossip as heavy snowflakes gently melt against their bare shoulders. As the Arctic evening deepens, the focus shifts inward to the comforting warmth of the home. Kitchens fill with the rich, earthy aroma of slow-roasted lamb or pan-fried Arctic char, deeply rooted culinary traditions that prioritize deliberate preparation over fast convenience. Breaking bread with loved ones remains an intimate, prolonged affair, usually followed by quiet hours spent lost in books, nurturing the nation's profound literary obsession. But what happens when Friday night descends upon the capital? The quiet coziness abruptly transforms into something entirely different. During the brief summer months, when the midnight sun famously refuses to set, Reykjavik's legendary nightlife ignites. Tiny, unpretentious bars overflow with live indie music and boisterous laughter, creating an intoxicating, high-energy contrast to the island's vast, silent wilderness. The night does not really end. It simply blends effortlessly into a vibrant, sunlit morning, driven by a collective desire to celebrate life together. That same collective desire to celebrate and protect one another extends far beyond a glowing weekend revelry. It forms the very bedrock of how a child grows up on this remote island. If you truly want to understand the reality of everyday life for a local family, you only need to watch the children. During the freezing, pitch-black winter mornings, 7-year-olds casually walk themselves to school under the faint glow of street lamps. Their tiny, heavy coats are dotted with reflective safety tape, moving completely unsupervised and utterly fearless through the snow. There's an almost unimaginable level of physical safety naturally woven into the fabric of the society. Parents do not hover anxiously at playground gates or carefully lock their front doors. Instead, they operate on a deeply ingrained national trust, silently knowing that every single adult in the neighborhood is keeping a watchful eye on the youngest generation. Yet, this remarkable freedom does not mean a lack of structure. Inside the brightly lit geothermally heated classrooms, the educational philosophy feels drastically different from the high-pressure, exam-obsessed systems found in much of the modern world. Fierce academic competition is quietly traded for something far more sustainable: creative problem-solving and emotional well-being. Teachers focus heavily on teaching students how to think collaboratively, rather than forcing them to memorize endless lists of facts. The ultimate goal is not merely to produce elite scholars, but to nurture capable, resilient humans. But what makes this deep, underlying peace truly possible? It stems from an invisible, ironclad safety net that catches every single citizen. When a child wakes up with sudden fever or a mother faces a severe medical emergency, there's absolutely no frantic calculation of hospital bills. The crushing weight of medical debt simply does not exist. Here, quality healthcare and higher education are viewed as unbreakable human rights. Stripped of the grinding anxieties regarding financial ruin or school safety, parents are granted the ultimate luxury: the quiet mental space to simply be present, watching their children run freely across the ancient, restless earth. Watching those children play on the very edge of steaming lava fields brings us right back to the question we started with. How do you build a completely normal, everyday existence in a place that feels so fragile and fiercely untamed? The answer, it turns out, is not about conquering the environment. It is about absolute surrender. You do not survive this isolated, wind-battered frontier by desperately trying to tame the fire or fighting to melt the ice. You survive by allowing it to shape your soul. What makes this nation so profoundly captivating is not just the towering, ancient glaciers or the explosive, violent geysers that draw millions of wide-eyed travelers every year. It is the quiet, unbreakable spirit of the people who casually call this volatile rock their home. They have mastered an extraordinary, almost impossible paradox, living directly in the crosshairs of one of the most unpredictable, rapidly changing climates on the planet. They have somehow managed to engineer one of the most stable, deeply connected societies in human history. Yet, what makes this even more fascinating is that the greatest lesson this island offers goes far beyond brilliant geothermal engineering or progressive social safety nets. It is a fundamental, almost spiritual shift in perspective. When you are constantly reminded of nature's overwhelming, earth-shattering power, human ego simply dissolves into the freezing wind. You naturally stop worrying about trivial, everyday inconveniences. You automatically start checking on your neighbors the moment the heavy winter storm clouds gather. You learn to embrace the long, isolating darkness of the Arctic winter, knowing with absolute, unshakable certainty that the vibrant midnight sun will eventually return to warm the fjords. To spend a lifetime in this remote, rugged outpost is to accept a deeply humble partnership with the earth itself. It serves as a constant, daily reminder that we are all only temporary guests on a wildly restless planet. But as the bitter Arctic wind howls relentlessly against the brightly painted corrugated rooftops, and locals gather close around the soothing warmth of a steaming neighborhood pool, a profound truth finally emerges from the mist. The harshest, most unforgiving landscapes do not merely test the limits of human endurance. They forge the warmest, most fiercely compassionate communities we are capable of creating.